Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Jade or Glowing Moss, and today we're going to talk about my OCs. My OCs are actually my pride and joy. These ones are more recent. They're from about a year ago, and I made them for a piece of horror media I'm going to make at some point. I would really like it to be a webcomic, as I talked about in my first video, which thank you so much for all of the love on that one. I was really surprised by the amount of engagement it got, and I'm really glad that you guys are here, and thank you guys for everybody that subscribed, for everybody who watched that video.
Thank you guys so much for 20 followers.
And I hope that you'll stick around to see what else I do. But yeah, and I do want to say that this is not all of my OCs. I have too many to even count. I actually lied. I have probably 10, 15 OCs, but I would like to talk about the rest of them if you guys would like to hear. So if you'll like, comment, and subscribe from this video, then I might make that one as well. But without further ado, let's get into talking about my wonderful characters. So the first character I wanted to talk about today is Elelliana. She is the main character of our story, and you can see me drawing her on the screen. Elelliana is a journalism student at Camden University, which is a fictional school that I made up. But if you think about it geographically, it would fall somewhere between Boone and Asheville. But Elelliana is in her third year at Camden, meaning she's a junior. And she's 20 years old, similar to me, but that's not important. But she has kind of become sort of an overachiever, kind of working herself to death because of the expectations her parents have placed upon her because she is an only child. So she's been an overachiever for like her whole life, and she struggled throughout her childhood with her mother's addiction. And her mom is now bedbound in their living room, in her father's living room, because of her condition, liver disease, which she contracted from drug use and alcoholism. But anyway, this is depressing. Moving on. Elelliana is pretty reserved, but around her friends she comes alive. She's prickly, and she doesn't take BS from anyone, contrary to her approachable exterior. I really wanted Elle's design to contrast my other character Laurel with all of her round shapes and warm colors, but you'll meet Laurel next. But yes, Elelliana loves her friends. She runs a D&D group with them every week, of which she's the DM, and she works really hard to provide a great time for them. She really is the glue that holds all of them together. Her overachieverness has not subsided since she was young. She's the secretary of the LGBT club called Mosaic, and before you ask, yes, all of my characters are LGBT because I am, and they are all my children. Anyways, as you can imagine, Elle's life is getting crazy at this point, so she starts to fall off academically, but also weird stuff has started to pop up around the town and around the university, and her friends are people who like to know things and like to find out. So Elelliana, being a journalist, starts to investigate, and what do they find? Nuts. Anyways, moving on. So in this part of the video, we're going to talk about Laurel. So Laurel Vernon is the love interest of this story, and he's kind of based off of all of my like favorite characters, like my bad boy favorite characters, like Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3, Sebastian from Stardew Valley, or Sam from Stardew Valley. But yeah, he's based on some of my favorite archetypes ever. But he grew up in a small town just outside of Camden, so he went to the county high school, not the city high school, and he did not have a good experience in middle or high school because he is trans, and he does not apologize for it. He's very open and very, like, he refuses to mask any part of himself, and people don't like this. So he gets into several fights. The culmination of this leads to him taking his last 2 years of high school online, mostly because his parents need him to stop fighting people and to protect him as he finishes his like transition, gets all his like stuff squared away, because his parents are very supportive people. They're very cool. But anyway, so Laurel goes to Camden for art education because of all the time he spent in the art teacher's room in middle and high school. as most of us queer people are well experienced with. Laurel kind of wants to be that person for someone else in the future. But Laurel's parents fought hard for him to pursue something like business or engineering or something to get their little boy into the big city, but he chose art education. When he went to college, he kind of bloomed socially. Laurel became this like bad bee on campus that everybody wanted because he spent a lot of times at the bars and at the frats and making lots of friends, even though he's not involved with any frats or anything like that. But he makes a lot of friends, and one of these friends is Matteo, who is Elelliana's best friend, and he attends one of the parties that Matteo's frat throws, and Elelliana is there, and he meets her, and he's very intrigued by her because she's very different from her friends. While her friends are very bubbly and outgoing, Elelliana is more reserved, and he's very intrigued by that. Laurel smokes cigarettes, which he started in college because he thought it would make him look cooler, and I'm not kidding, this is the only reason. But yeah, everybody in the art department wants him, but he only wants them superficially, but deep on the inside he's very gooey and loving and warm, but you have to access that by getting to know him and becoming close with him first. But yeah, I think that about sums it up for Laurel, and I can't talk any longer because I'm running out of speed paint footage, but yeah, thanks. Moving on to Elelliana's friends. So I don't have as much art for this part. In this video I really wanted to talk about all of Elelliana's friends, which include Elelliana, Laurel, Fiona, Matteo, Delilah, and Liam, but I don't have art of all of them because I don't have time because I'm also a full-time student. But anyways, this part of the video is about Elelliana's friend group. The two friends I'm going to talk about are Fiona Daniels, and Matteo Clement. So Fiona actually grew up as Elelliana's next door neighbor. They grew up from literally diapers together, and they spent a lot of time in the yard playing warrior cats and drawing together because they're nerds. Fiona is super bubbly. She's very outgoing, and she loves fashion and colorful things and all that good stuff. She is also very fiercely protective of her friends, and she's also in the art department at Camden, specifically in fashion design. Despite being in such a different discipline, Fiona spent her first year at Camden having every single class with Laurel, and she hated this because she can't stand him. She can't stand his art, she can't stand his personality, she can't stand his bad attitude. But yeah, Fiona really does not like him. Anywho, Fiona is the only one of the gang with an apartment other than Laurel because she saved up her entire high school experience to get an apartment because she really values her independence, and she really wanted to have a separate space from her parents so she could start her art business and continue to do her art business and have more space for that. But yeah, she has a YouTube channel. She's very popular and everybody likes her. Honestly, like, my biggest inspiration for Fiona was Pixie Locks on YouTube, but also my Pinkie Pie redesign that I will talk about at some point later, but I'll pop a picture on the screen. But I was inspired to write her because of that. But yeah, that brings us to Matteo. So the final subject of the Glowing Moss OC video is Matteo. So Matteo is also a Camden native. Well, not entirely a native because he moved down when he was very young from New York City because his family was kind of priced out of their neighborhood and lost their Italian restaurant up there, so they established one in Camden. Elelliana and Fiona loved to visit Matteo's house when they were younger because they knew they were gonna get fed, because Matteo's family owns a couple upscale Italian restaurants. But Matteo is in school for business, and he's a social butterfly. He loves talking to people, and he is what ultimately ended up getting Elelliana and Laurel together. Or not necessarily together, but into their like weird situationship thing they have going on. Matteo has his own problematic situationship with Liam, who I will talk about at some point in the future. But yeah, and so those are all of my OCs. Thank you for watching. Just a reminder that my commissions are open, and I finally got an artist code on VGen. So if you'd like to commission me, I would prefer that you do it through VGen because I'm still working on getting verified because I got my artist code yesterday. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please commission me and make sure you follow me on all of my social medias, which are linked in my LinkTree in the description and on the screen. And if you want more videos about my OCs, because I have quite a few more to talk about, then please like and leave a comment down below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I have been Jade or Glowing Moss, and this is the end screen.